Hello, in this video I'm going to explain how I used Google Sheets to make a matching quiz with an automatically generated answer key. I love using Google Sheets for assessments. It gives me layouts and formats that are difficult to do in a normal word processor. I can use random numbers to make a wide variety or an endless supply of math and science questions, and I can sort or randomize lists to make alternate versions for practice tests or students sitting next to each other. The problem is, if I were to just select a list of answers and then randomize them, then if I wanted to get an answer key, I'm going to need to take this quiz myself in order to produce one, but I don't necessarily have that time, and maybe you don't either. So how do you automatically produce an answer key? Let me show you how I managed to make that work, and with this explanation, maybe it'll inspire you to make your own thing, or it'll help you to make whatever adjustments you need to this template to use it to the fullest or for your purposes. Whatever it is, here we go, and let's see how this thing works. First thing, I need a column of terms and their answers or descriptions, or whatever the premise of the matching is. And then next to each of these terms, you need to produce a unique random number. Same thing for all of these answers. All right. Also, you need to make sure that the term and their answers that correspond to them are in the same row, right? So this first term has its answer to its right. This second term has its answer in the same row. And last little setup thing here, the solution bank is all the letters of the alphabet. I have this set up to be able to handle all the way down to Z, but there's no reason why this couldn't be capital or lowercase letters or numbers, Roman numerals. Again, use this for whatever purposes you need. I just have 5 terms in this list for the sake of the demonstration, but there's no reason why you couldn't add more or take away some. Just make sure that every item in the list has a unique random number next to it. So the first little trick is in this next set of columns. This is using the sort function to sort these 2 columns by the left column, which is the random number. In other words, it's sorting them so that the random numbers go in order, which has the effect of randomizing the list of terms. This is going to do the same thing, but it's sorting these 2 columns by the random number again. So now the random numbers are in ascending order, which effectively scrambles the list of answers. So you're going to get these 2 lists independently randomly scrambled. If I were to refresh this or make some change, it would just re-scramble them. Okay, so now that they've been independently scrambled, I need to be able to find where they went in order to produce an answer key. So to do that, I'm using the match function, right? I'm finding where is where are these items ending up in this list. So let's see how to make sense of that. The first term is in the second position. Here I need to start speaking very carefully, and you need to listen very carefully because I have 2 separate numbered lists and it's really easy to mix them up. I have 5 terms and they are going to appear in one of 5 positions. So when I say the first term is in the second position, I mean that in this list there was a term which was first, and when it got scrambled, it ended up in the second position, right? So that's why this 2 is in the first row, because the first term ended up in position number 2. Now you'll notice next to that is 5, and that is because the first answer, or maybe I should say the answer to the first term, ended up in the 5th position. Okay, so the next columns are going to straighten this out a little bit because it's sorting these 2, but it's doing it by this column. That is this 2, 5, right? That is the first term is in the second position and the first answer is in the 5th position, is going to be moved here because it's sorting these two columns by this column, right? So whichever term ended up in the second position, its answer ended up in the fifth position. And this column is using the indirect function to pull up from this solution bank the solution which is in the correct position. That is, the second answer is answer B. And so here, let me go back to this example. Whichever solution ended up in the fifth position, that would be solution E, needs to be the answer to the second question. Okay, so let me go back to the key here. You'll see right here, the second answer is E. That is the first term, and the answer to the first term is down here. That's the last one. Okay, so just check out how this works, right? The first term, let me scroll back over, the first term had a random number next to it, which happens to be the second smallest random number. So when it got sorted, the first term ended up in the second position. Similarly, the answer to the first term ended up in the fifth position. So the next column, when it found that the first term ended up in position number 2, and the first answer ended up in position number 5. When that got sorted, so that the term in the second position is now second in the list. Okay, this isn't term number 2. This is the term number 1, which ended up in the second position. Okay, the term in the second position has its answer in the fifth position, and so the fifth solution, that is solution E, because that's the fifth letter, the fifth solution from the solution list, has to be the solution to the second question. All right, so this can be modified greatly. For example, if I wanted to, I could add a sixth term here. If I did that, I'm going to have to make sure that I have an answer for that one, answer to the sixth term. And to make sure that this is doing computations for this, I just need to copy a random number for here, copy a random number for here. You can see that it's recalculating everything every time I add one. And so now I've got 6 terms here, right? Because this is using the sort function, so it's not like I need to copy and paste anything there. However, I am going to need to copy and paste here because this is using the match function, and since this is using the sort function, that is going to populate itself, but this is using the the indirect function, so I will need to copy and paste that. Now I've got answers A through F, but they're not going to show up in the key because, well, I didn't have a 6th row here, so I'm going to need to just take this row and copy it. Oh, hold on a second. I need to make sure that I actually have like an answer F there, and oh, you know what? I did that the wrong way. I'm supposed to do it this way. I do it in the quiz first. There we go. And I've set up my key so that it refers to whatever is in that position on the quiz. All right, so there we go. I've now got a 6th term and a 6th answer. And if I follow this, the second term has its answer there at letter D. The first term has its letter there at answer E. 6th term, yep, so everything followed there. Okay, so this could be an entire page, and in fact, I have this formatted so that when I go to print this, let me just make this portrait and get rid of those grid lines. Again, you can make whatever changes you need to. If I only had 6 terms, and of course I would put something else at the bottom of this page. This is just the machinery to produce a matching section with an automatically generated answer key, right? So anything else that I would need to do, maybe make this not quite so spaced out vertically, so I'd have room for more options, or if I only have a few and I don't want it to look quite so small, space them out. You know the deal. Make whatever changes you need to suit your purpose. So there's going to be a template for this somewhere near where you're seeing this video that you can use so that you can make your own version of this. Otherwise, use use this or the ideas inside of it for whatever you need to. And happy teaching and assessing.